Say this can't be done. ZoomX, just as I wanted. Many have said that this is not possible. Many have laughed in my face, but once they see my FRANKENSHOES, the perfect running shoe does not exist. That is a true statement, but that does not mean that we can't come in the shoe lab, use science, and all these evil tactics to create my own FRANKENSHOES. And you might be asking yourself, what are you going on about, Brendon? What is a FRANKENSHOE? Well, let me tell you, a FRANKENSHOE is an upper from one shoe, a midsole from another shoe, and we'll slap on an outsole from another shoe to create the perfect shoe monster, otherwise known as a FRANKENSHOE. But just so you know, we're going to be creating a FRANKENSHOE for daily trainers, for fast day shoes, and also for race day shoes. And here's the couple of rules that I put in place because I want you to go down in the comment section below and create your own FRANKENSHOEs. But keep in mind, you can only use one component from one individual shoe. So for example, if I use the midsole from the Alpha Fly, I can't use the upper from the Alpha Fly. It has to be from a different running shoe. And that's the only rule other than having fun, because if you're not having fun, then what's the point of being on this planet? We gotta have fun. There's room for business, but the business better be fun as well. Now, if you're excited for today's video, hit the like button and let's get into the FRANKENSHOEs. So starting off with the FRANKENSHOEs, we're doing the daily trainer first. And my daily trainers, I like them to have a good lockdown. I like them to feel relatively bouncy in their foot because I want my daily trainer to kind of inspire me to put it on and get out there each and every day. And if a shoe's fun, I'm gonna be more inclined to go out there and put some miles into these non-elite legs. So that's exactly what I want from the midsole of it. For daily trainer outsole, all I wanted to do is be able to be durable and have me not slipping around on ice, because I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it's going to be icy for most of the year, so it needs to have good traction. And with those things in mind, here is the components of my FRANKENSHOE. For the upper of the FRANKENSHOE, we're going to go with the Hoka Mach 4. The upper on the Hoka Mach 4 is, you know what, it's top tier. It's such a good lockdown. It's nice and breathable. The heel counter is absolutely amazing. It's lightweight. You know what, it might be the perfect upper that I've tried in 2021 and maybe even 2020 as well. Like, it's one of the best uppers I've tried in a couple of years. So that is component one of the Daily Trainer FRANKENSHOE. For the midsole, we're going to go with the Nike ZoomX Invincible midsole because, well, just look how thick and nice that ZoomX is looking. Dang, it's a nice one. So for those of you that haven't tried the ZoomX Invincible, the underfoot sensation is, honestly, it's magical. It's such an amazing sensation. That full-length ZoomX is just, oh man, it's so inspiring. It makes me want to go out there and put miles in. And when I'm finished putting those miles in, my legs feel fresh. And that is, it's such a beautiful sensation. If it wasn't for the upper on this thing, it's just, but anyway, we're not going to be talking about the shoe as a whole, just the midsole. So for my FRANKENSHOE Daily Trainer, I'd go with the ZoomX Invincible full-length ZoomX midsole so far with that Hoka Mach 4 upper. Now, let's get the last component. Let's sprinkle it all together and finish off our Daily Trainer FRANKENSHOE. And the last component is the outsole, and for an outsole, I'd love the Velocity Nitro outsole on my Daily Trainer because that Puma Grip outsole is just super grabby, super grippy, and I think it's gonna stand the test of time in terms of durability. So if we throw all these things together to create our Daily Trainer FRANKENSHOE, we're going with the Hoka Mach 4 upper mixed with the Nike ZoomX Invincible midsole and finishing it off with that Puma Velocity outsole. So mixing these three things together gives us our FRANKENSHOE Daily Trainer. And moving on to one of the most exciting shoes, aside from, of course, marathon race shoes, the tempo and speed day shoes. So for my speed days, I like that upper to have a good lockdown. I want it to be very breathable, and I don't want it to absorb a bunch of sweat. For the midsole, I want to have a nice smooth feeling underfoot. I don't want it to be super rigid because I don't really like using carbon fiber plated shoes for speed, short speed stuff anyway. It's not really my jam. I like something a little bit more flexible. And for that outsole, I want it to have a little bit of grip, but I don't really care because I do a lot of my speed stuff on tracks and I don't really see the need to have good grip. I want there to be as little as possible because I want my speed day shoe to be relatively light as well. So with those things in mind, let's throw these components together to create our speed day FRANKENSHOE. For the upper for our speed day FRANKENSHOE, we're going with the Nike Next Percent #2 upper, and this upper is honestly beautiful. I love the engineered mesh that they have here. It's so much better than what they did with the Vaporfly #1 with that Vaporweave upper. I don't really like that upper very much. But the Next Percent number 2 with this engineered mesh, I find it very accommodating. I don't find it that it absorbs a bunch of sweat. It has a little bit of padding through the ankle collar. I don't find the ankle collar very loose and sloppy feeling because it has a slight amount of structure. Overall, it's just a beautiful upper for speed days. And the most important of any speed day shoe, the midsole, we're gonna have to go with. Can you guess what we're gonna go for the midsole? I think it's probably pretty obvious because this is probably at the top of most people's list, and that is Endorphin Speed 2 midsole. Now, this is actually the Endorphin Speed number 1, but the same midsole, all the same stuff. So I'd love to have my speed day shoe to have the Saucony Endorphin Speed midsole. That nylon plate with that Power On PB midsole foam is just so nice. It's nice and smooth. It gives a lot back when you're putting it in. And also when you're doing your like cool down between sessions and all that stuff, it can handle those little bit of slower speeds as well. A lot of people use this shoe in particular for daily training, so that midsole can accommodate a range of paces. And you know what? When I'm doing speed days, I like to have a little bit of lenience if I'm not feeling good. And if I just want to change that speed session into like a longer run, the Saucony Endorphin Speed midsole will allow me to do that. So that's why my speed day Frankenshoe has the Saucony Endorphin Speed midsole. For the first point of contact between myself, the shoe, and the ground, the outsole of my speed day shoe is gonna have to be the Puma Liberate Nitro outsole. Now, this is an outsole that is really grippy, same as with the Velocity Nitro, but there's just a little bit less rubber. And like I said, I want there to be just a tiny bit less rubber because I don't necessarily care about, I don't know, like for me, speed day shoes, they're gonna wear down. I want them to be lighter weight, and lighter weight comes at a cost of less durability. So having a little bit less outsole rubber is totally fine for me on my speed day shoes. So the Liberate Nitro, I think, has the perfect outsole for speed day shoes. So if we throw all that together, we're going with the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 upper mixed with the Saucony Endorphin Speed midsole, and finishing off with that Liberate Nitro outsole for my speed day Frankenshoe. You know what, guys? I think this would be a pretty cool looking shoe too, with that blue upper and the blue midsole here. Man, maybe I should cut up some shoes and actually create these Frankenshoes. Don't tempt me. Finishing it off with the most important, most amazing shoe in anyone's collection, the carbon fiber plated racing shoes. For me, for my race day shoes, I want that upper to be accommodating because my feet, they swell. And if the upper is very tight fitting, it's not something that's gonna be very nice. And for that midsole, I want a little bit of rigidity because I'm gonna be putting in a lot of power for a longer duration, and having that really rigid carbon fiber plate, allowing that motion to just kind of be nice and smooth the entire way, and maybe give a little bit of repulsion, but I don't really necessarily think that's the point of these carbon fiber plates. It's mainly, in my opinion, for rigidity and to keep the shape of that rocker geometry, which really gives the efficiency, in my non-educated opinion anyway. And for that outsole, I want almost no outsole rubber, maybe just a little bit to make sure that I don't slip down the hill in moisture conditions and extreme conditions, just a little bit of outsole rubber. So for me, for my upper on my Frankenshoe race day shoe, we're gonna have to go with none other than the Alphafly with that adamant upper. Now the adamant upper is extremely accommodating for me. I find it nice and form-fitting, and it has a good enough lockdown, but in the toe box there's enough room for me that if my feet get swollen, I don't find that it's gonna really be restrictive. It absorbs almost no moisture. Like when I take this out in rainy conditions, which we get it quite a bit here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, I've never noticed that this upper gets extremely sloppy and it just doesn't really hold on to much moisture. So for those reasons, the adamant upper is gonna be on my Frankenshoe race day shoe. And coming into that midsole, the heart of the shoe, we're going with, again, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. Now you might be saying to yourself, didn't you say that you can't use the same shoe twice? No, you can't use the same components from shoes twice, but I do feel that the Vaporfly Next Percent number 2 is like, it's so close to being perfect that we're gonna use the midsole from it on my race day shoe because that ZoomX midsole foam with that carbon fiber plate and the midsole geometry on the Next Percent 2 is absolutely amazing. After I'm finished running in this shoe, it barely feels like I put in any effort. It's just a magical sensation, and that's why we're going with the midsole from the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. And for the last component, the outsole of our race day Frankenshoe, we're going with the Asics Metaspeed Sky outsole. Now, this is an outsole that is very, very thin, but I find it very good. Like, I don't find that I'm slipping much when I'm out there running. I think it's called, I think it's Asics Grip or something. Like, I don't know. It's just some brand name, but all that really matters is how it performs, and it performs admirably. I don't know if it's going to be very durable, but For these race day shoes, I don't think that durability is going to be a main concern, or it shouldn't be a main concern, because we've come a long way over the last few years in terms of durability for race day shoes. Like, it used to be like 50 miles flat. That's all you get out of your race day shoes. Now we can push them upwards of a couple 100 miles, but the outsole on the Asics Metaspeed Sky is going to be the outsole for my Franken shoe. Now, to wrap it up, my race day Franken shoe is going to have the Adamant upper from the Alpha Fly, just an amazingly accommodating upper, super comfortable. And for that midsole, we're gonna have to go with the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 midsole foam, finishing it off, that Asics Metaspeed Sky outsole. And this, I think, will be an amazing race day shoe, if I do say so myself. The Franken shoes list is complete. And now let's see what you guys have in mind with your own Franken shoes. Now, thank you all so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more videos all about running and running shoes, hit that subscribe button right down below, and I'll see you on the next one.